Hello Reddit. I'm going to tell you a story that will surprise you. I have known my wife for over 8 years. We have good, happy children. My wife got pregnant again, and it was unexpected for us. The hospital told us we were having twins. My wife found a good job that she didn't want to leave. She would have to stay home and raise the kids again. My wife wanted her freedom, not to be at home all day. I told her I would help with the kids and everything would work out. If I don't have time to help my wife, I can hire a nanny. A few months went by and we had new kids. A few more years went by and our kids were all grown up. My wife already wanted to get a job, but her friends dissuaded her from the idea. They suggested that she go to the sea before it was too late. After all, then she would only have to work and stay at home. She thought about it and had a strong desire to go to the sea. I was sitting in the kitchen drinking coffee. My wife came over to me and said she wanted to go to the sea. At that moment, I was thinking about letting my wife go to the sea, so I took her up on her offer. A week later, I gave my wife the money for the sea and she started kissing and hugging me. She was so happy. I asked her who she would go with. She shrugged and said she didn't know. But at that moment, she already knew very well. She wanted to go with her friends. I knew her friends well, and I was sure they would have a good time. I didn't worry about my wife either, because I was sure of her. After a while, my wife went to the seaside, and I stayed home alone with the children. She called me and told me that the first day of vacation flew by unnoticed. She decided to take a break from her friends and go for a walk in beauty salons. She passed by a massage parlor and decided to stop by. She entered the building and was surprised. A stout man stood in front of her and said hello. He started giving her a massage and she really liked it. After that session, she couldn't get that masseur out of her mind. In the evening, she and her friends went to a club. They were drinking and dancing. Suddenly, the same masseur came up behind her and put his arm around her. She wanted to turn around and slap the impudent man, but when she turned around, she recognized the masseur. They had a good time that night at the club. The next day, my wife woke up in bed with the masseur. I didn't know all these at the time and was at home. She began to remember what had happened yesterday and began to get dressed quickly. She grabbed all of her things and ran out of the hotel. She thought for a long time about what had happened and reassured herself that it was just a holiday romance that she thought I wouldn't know about. My wife introduced this masseur to her friends and they liked him. She was only stressed by one friend with whom she had the least contact. The friend didn't like the fact that my wife was cheating on me. She thought about telling me everything. She decided to take pictures of the lovers and send all the pictures to me anonymously. The vacation was coming to an end and my wife didn't want to go back. Her lover asked for some contacts to contact her in the future, but she refused and said she only wanted to keep it in her memories and not cross paths again. He gave her a keepsake bracelet and my wife promised to keep it. When she arrived home, the children immediately ran to greet her. They missed her so much, including me. I didn't see anything suspicious about her. On the contrary, I loved her even more. About a week passed and I went to work as usual. At lunchtime, a colleague came up to me and handed me an envelope. "Who gave it to you?" I asked. The colleague said he didn't know the person. He looked like a courier, he said. I didn't open the envelope right away but got to work. When the day was over, I remembered the envelope and decided to open it. I opened the envelope and was stunned. Inside were pictures of my wife and an unknown man. They were holding hands, hugging and kissing. I got very angry. I work at my job, I take care of the kids, I earn her vacation money, and she brazenly cheats on me. No, I would never forgive her for that. I quickly started the car and headed home as soon as possible. The kids were already asleep at that point. I went into the house and saw that the children were asleep and my wife was sitting in the chair, laughing from some video on her phone. I didn't take my clothes off. I ran straight to my wife. I threw the pictures right in her face. She was very surprised and started looking at the pictures. She recognized herself with her lover and became visibly nervous. She started apologizing and crying, but I didn't listen to that. I just insulted her and asked her why she had done that. I left the house and went to my friend's house. I picked up a lot of hard liquor and consumed it to the point of insanity. More than a month went by, and I decided to go home. I pondered all this time for a long time and decided to forgive my wife. I came home and she immediately attacked me. She started apologizing again and got down on her knees. I decided to give her another chance and forgave her. Several years passed, and every day I remembered that story. At one point I couldn't stand it and said I was leaving home. I said I couldn't live like that anymore. My wife understood and did not argue with me. She agreed with me. She understood that it was very hard to get over. I left the children with her and left the family. She was raising them alone and working at a job. I heard from her friends that she tried to start a new relationship, but man didn't want to take on that responsibility. What would you do if you were me? Would you forgive your wife like I did, or would you leave her right away? Write in the comments.